Here the word of the Lord is found at the end of Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." I have a bonus reading for you. And speaking with Brother Mefor last night, he was telling me about a passage that was on his mind for this morning, so I want to share that with you as well. It's in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 20 and 21. And it says, "In a large house there are articles not only of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay. Some are for special purposes and some for common use. Those who cleanse themselves from the latter will be instruments for special purposes, made holy, useful to the master, and prepared to do any good work." This is the word of God for the people of God. You may be seated. At this time, I want to welcome the Dr. Mefor and his wife that are with us all the way from Zimbabwe, and they have come to share with us about the work that is happening on the mission field. They have been here before. How many remember them being with us before? That's a good chunk of you. I'm glad that you remember. I was not here. There was a different pastor here at the time. But we are grateful, Dr. Mefor, for you and for all of your work. And we pray that God would bless you as you share with us about the mission work that is happening.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We want to thank God for making it possible for us to be here this morning. We thank God for his mercies and granting us safe journey. So let's just start by talking on, a few comments on what the pastor just read lastly on 2 Timothy, and what I want each and every one of us to know is that we are all workers in the vineyard of the Lord. And we need to make ourselves to be that vessel which the Lord uses all the time. As Timothy says, let us be the vessels, he used all the time, the vessel made of gold and not wood and ordinary instruments. So back to our story. We want to thank God that this should be, I think, the third time we're coming to Princeton, to the First United Methodist Church in Princeton. So, what we're going to tell you is, the structure of what we want to say is that we want to tell you where we have, the place we have worked in Zimbabwe, what we've been doing in the past 17 years, and last year we were transferred to a new United Methodist Church, another United Methodist Church hospital, and for the past 1 year, we need to tell you what we have done there and what we need to do more. So, in the past 17 years in Zimbabwe, when we came to Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwe United Methodist Church has 3 mission hospitals. One is in Mutambara, and in Mutambara, that's where we've been working in the past 17 years. It's a mission center, and we have the church, just like we have this church there. There is also the hospital where we worked, called the Mutambara Mission Hospital. and it also has primary schools and high school. It also has a farm division, a mechanic division. In the second United Methodist Church Mission Center in Nyadiri, it has the same thing as I have mentioned in Mutambara. Then the third one is the old Mutare Mission Hospital where we were transferred. It also has the hospital, it has a church just like this church. It has also the primary schools and the high school. And it's good to know that a good number of people in government in Mutare, in Zimbabwe, went through the United Methodist Church Hospital. United Methodist Church School in Old Mutare. So it also has an orphanage. The orphanage has been helping, dumped babies, orphans, and all that. And they grow they be with the kids. Sorry, they will be with the kids up to 18 years before they search for foster parents for them. So the United Methodist Church is doing a great job all over the world and in Zimbabwe. Now, I am a medical doctor. Florence here is a nurse and midwife. And as we go along on the slides, you will see what the doctor is doing and what the nurse is doing. But we need to just, give a little bit deep on what Florence is doing. As a midwife, she is passionate with working with the pregnant women and children, 5 years and below. And in Zimbabwe, when we came there, the death of mothers of pregnant women was high. Pregnant women and during delivery, and in medical terms, it's called maternal mortality rate. So the maternal mortality rate in Zimbabwe was high, as at that time in 2006 when we got there. And so the pregnant women also, a good number of them are teenagers. Teenagers, if we say teenagers, we mean, people from 13 years, girls from 13 years up to 19 years. These are a good majority of the pregnant women in Zimbabwe. And so we also need to know that at this age, it is not appropriate for, for kids to be pregnant. And so if they need to deliver, it's a 50-50 chance. Some may make it, some may not make it. And because of that, if care is not taken, a good majority of them die in the process of pregnancy and labor. So to reduce this, the government thought that it would be best to get because these pregnant women in the villages live in hills and mountains. It's difficult to, they need to trek all the way to the road to pick up public transport to go to hospitals or to anywhere. So it's quite unlike here in the United States, where everyone has a car. A family will have at least 2 cars here. In Zimbabwe, 90% doesn't even have a car. So the few that have cars, if they have car, then it will be just one in a family. I mean, 1 car, for the whole family. So, but these poor ones don't have, they need to trek. So, in case of emergency, it's difficult for them to trek all the way from the mountains to the roads and then spend all the time to wait for public transport. And so the government said the best thing is when the woman pregnant is 36 weeks, she has to go to the hospital to stay. So from 36 weeks up to 40 or 42 weeks, that's the period she is expected to deliver. And for this 6 weeks to 8 weeks, when she comes there, she needs to feed herself. And so, because people are poor, they don't have money, they don't have enough food at home, so the dilemma will be, does she go to hospital without food, or does she remain at home and have the pregnancy there? But because of this issue, some of them would prefer to go to hospital when, especially those that have lost their pregnancies, maybe they lost the first pregnancy, they lost the second pregnancy. So the solution would be, okay, go to the hospital, remain there without food, but hope that you have a live baby. So that's the decisions, the difficulty there. So when we got there, some that were in the mother shelter were this type of people who have lost pregnancies, and they need to, they prefer go to the hospital, go hungry, but have a live baby. So when they get there, the next thing would be, how to feed themselves. In fact, they may come to a hospital just, with food enough to, for 1 day or two, and then they run out of food, and the next thing would be to go about asking for, from house to house, asking for housework, house chores they would do so that they would be paid even $1 to be able to feed. And so when we noticed that, they used to come to our place too, to our home. They will ask for house chores so that we will help them. But, as I said, we need to be compassionate. So we start providing, we'll provide what we have for them. And they will go out, when they go back, during lunch, they will come back. And then during dinner, they will come back. And so it became, we continued to help, but it wasn't sustainable. In fact, it was draining our purse. So we had to arrange that we need to see what we have to do to help these women. Another problem was that some of them would show signs of hypoglycemia. What is hypoglycemia? Hypoglycemia is a situation where the patient feels hungry, so hungry, blood sugar gets too low, and they start feeling dizzy, sweating. Some will become unconscious, some will be semi-conscious. So some of them were noticed in the clinic where Florence and her group, the other midwives, will be seeing these ladies every day. And so on several occasions, I've also been called as a doctor to resuscitate these patients. So we resuscitate them, put IVs and push glucose, and they get better. So the solution was to find something to feed them. So what we decided was to feed them at least breakfast. And the breakfast is corn meal. Corn meal made into porridge. We add sugar and peanut butter and give it to them. So we started it, and then Florence and her group had to start doing that in the clinic there to prepare this for the women, feed them, and at least feed them breakfast. And we did that, and that was good. When that continued, we have support from another group, another volunteers in mission, just one couple who came to help us from South Dakota. So when they left, they gave Florence $50, with which she was able to feed these women for 6 weeks. I mean, the number of women were about 10 to 15 in the mother's shelter. Some would deliver, and others will, and other more will be coming. And so when we started doing that, we also started sending our newsletters to all the churches, our supporting churches in the United States. And UNW women, the churches started contributing money as we wrote and told the story. And so the money started coming, and we started feeding them. And good thing, the Norwegian UMC also had partnership with Zimbabwe. When they visited our hospital, we presented the issue to them, and thank God, when they went back, they wrote us and said, we're going to help you support this feeding of these women. So, and they continued to do that. In fact, they will send the money, about 70% of the money for a whole year to feed the pregnant women. And so, it was so good. The issue of hypoglycemia stopped. In fact, we started noticing that the birth weight of the babies also started increasing. If I give an example, a low birth weight here for us would be 2 kilograms. If you convert that to pounds, it will give you maybe 5 pounds, 5 point something. That's the weight of the babies that were delivered. And so, but when we started feeding them, the birth weight increased up to 3 kilograms, 3.5 kilograms. And if you convert that in pounds, which the United States use, you're talking about that the baby will have about 7 pounds or so, or 7 pounds or 7.5 pounds, so which was great. And what is more, besides that, the women started increasing. As I said, they used to be 10 or 15 in the mother's shelter. But with the free food available, they started increasing from 30 to 40 to 60 to 80 women in the mother's shelter. Now, these 80 women were supposed to sleep, or rather to stay in accommodation, which is just meant for 25 women. And so, when the congestion became much, some would sleep on the floor, others would sleep on the bed, because we were happy that they were coming. And the maternal mortality rate reduced. In fact, 2 years passed with no mother died. We didn't have any record that a pregnant woman died. And so that's the basis. Of course, when it increased, we have a lot of them. Then there was the issue, because you solve one problem, another one surfaces. There was the surface about congestion. You need to decongest them. So we started expanding that dormitory where they were staying. We expanded it. Then we also built another one with the substantial help of one of the bishops from Great Plains in Missouri. He came from Kansas. He and his team came and they helped us when they saw the congestion. He sent us $5,000 in addition to what was coming to advance. So we used it to build a second hostel. And then the third hostel was built by the UNICEF through the Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwe government. So we had 3 hostels there to accommodate about 80 to 85 women in the shelter every day, and these people have to be fed. And so, and then besides that, there was issue of trying to teach them skills, because they were now roaming all over the place. They would eat and then roam about. So Florence thought that there was need also to start teaching them skills. So that was another thing. And then from the skills, there was issue of sustainability. You can see from one problem to the other. And we tried to do that all over the years in Mutambara. Now, last year, we were sent to Old Mutari. And Old Mutari was like a new place. A new place, you need to start afresh. The pregnant women there was like the same, no food, We had a good building by the General Board of Global Ministries of the United Methodist Church. Thank God for them, they have a new building there, but it was empty. So we also have to start increasing, to plan to start feeding these women. And so the issue is that we've helped Mutambara. Mutambara is a bit stable, but Old Mutare now is a new place, which we got there last year, and the same thing, we're back to square one, from what happened in Mutambara to what is happening in Old Mutare. So we'll show you pictures, what has been done, and what we need to do. I deliberately didn't talk about our family. That picture there is our immediate family on the left. That's our first son in the back row, the white person, the man in white. His wife is the next lady to him from Wisconsin. And they have 3 children sitting with us down there. The girl in the middle is the first daughter. She's 10 years. And then the second daughter is the one with me. She's 7 years. And then the one with Florence, the youngest, is 5 years. The other 2 at the back row, the boy is our second son, and the girl is our youngest. Our son and his family are living in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and those 2, the boy and the girl, are in Atlanta. The girl has just finished her master's degree in international relations and development and is seeking for a job. In fact, she can't go back to Nigeria now because Nigeria is unstable, very unsafe. So, and that's Africa. The green, where that arrow starts, that green point is Nigeria. And that Nigeria is our home country. But we are assigned to work in Zimbabwe. You see the end of that arrow? In the southern part of Africa, that's Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe is surrounded by Mozambique, and then there is the Malawi and, is that Namibia? Then Botswana on the southwest and South Africa down on the south. So that's map of Zimbabwe. The picture there on the right, on top is the picture of the Harare, which is the capital of Zimbabwe. It used to be called Salisbury. The picture on the on the left there is the Victoria Falls, and below there are the animals in Zimbabwe, monkeys and giraffes and zebra and all that. Up there is the position of Mutambara on the right side, and up on Mutambara, in other words, north of Mutambara is Old Mutare. It's good to know the Old Mutare is also in the same place with Africa University. It used to be the first town before the new town called Mutare. So that video, the picture there is, that's Mutambara on the left and Old Mutare on the right, and across the road is Africa University, towards me. So you can see that picture on the on the left. As I told you, there was congestion. So that video there is showing the first, the waiting mother's home, which was supposed to contain or to accommodate 25 women. But when the number increased, you can see some on the floor there, under the bed, and others, we removed their beds, the mattresses, from where they are, because it was during the day. That's Florence there at the background. Now, the picture on the right is what is the mother's shelter in Zimbabwe now. The first building is the one which these ladies are in. The one in the middle is The one I told you we built in order to decongest to decongest them. And then the one at the extreme end is the one which the Zimbabwe government did through the UNICEF. So, and it's good to know you're all doing a nice job. That the Zimbabwe government, credited that waiting mothers as a 5-star waiting mothers in Zimbabwe. If you talk of 5-star hotel, it's a big, nice hotel. So the 5-star mother shelter there is the best in Zimbabwe. So that picture there on the right is the women queuing up for food as they started feeding. For lunch. As I told you, the breakfast used to be cornmeal or porridge, sugar, and peanut butter. During the lunch, it will be that cornmeal, but it's made thicker to appear like mashed potatoes. The mashed potato you eat here. So that's the video. That's the cornmeal there. But that time we call it saza. It's called saza over Zimbabwe, S-A-D-Z-A. And they eat it with beef stew, chicken stew, vegetables, and all that, if you have them. And of course, as I said, when we started having money, we improved the menu. It's, at times it will be tea and sugar, tea and milk and eggs, and then in the afternoon it might be rice or spaghetti and the same thing in dinner. So things have, it was improved. So in this video, I told you that there was issue about teaching these women skills. So in this session, Florence is teaching them the skills about how to knit and how to sew, sew babies' clothes, how to sew babies' caps, and all that. With the sewing machine, we appealed, when we came here in 2012, we appealed for machine, we appealed for yarn, we appealed for a lot of things, and fabrics, which the United Methodist women contributed and were shipped to us through the UMCO. So we thank you so much. So this is teaching them session to keep them busy. So the next one is, in here is an outreach point. Why outreach? Outreach is because they need to go, Florence and her group needs to go out to the outreach point to immunize these babies. Some of them will not come to hospital when they have delivered and gone home because of the transportation due to poverty. So we need to follow them up. And so in the picture there is the outreach point, one of the outreach points. You can see the women assembled there, ready, waiting for the team to come for immunization. The picture on the left is Florence giving shots to the women. She's not the only one. There are usually about 2 or 3 of them giving shots. Others will be, talking to women about HIV. Others will be talking, seeing the women, HIV, testing and counseling them. And some others will, and doing the family planning for these women. And so the picture there is also a video. So that video was after one of the outreach sessions. You can see the picture on the left is, when the visitors, we had visitors from the United States, they wanted to go to the outreach point to see what was going on there. So after that, it was time to, for their break, for lunch, and then to sing and dance before they go. So that's the video there. Now, I talked to you about sustainability. There was need for sustainability. We started growing chickens, broilers, and broilers are grown to produce meat, and some are sold generate fund for the pregnant women, for the feeding of the pregnant women. The picture on the left is layers, chicken layers. They also lay eggs for sale. We also did piggery just to get meat for the pregnant women and also to sell some to generate fund. The picture there on the video on the left is we cultivate farm. There, that's a cornflower cornfield, and this irrigation was made possible by a church in Iowa, the Bloomfield United Methodist Church. So we had to do this irrigation. Why? Because the condition, or rather the weather in Zimbabwe, it's erratic. At times the rain falls, at other times there won't be rains. And if there are no rains, we fall back on irrigation in order to make to have a good harvest. And so this video is part of my work. I am the medical superintendent of the hospital, so I need to see that everything works in the hospital. So that's my work administratively, and I need to see all patients. I need to remember to say that our hospital is a county hospital. It's like a county hospital here in the United States. So and over there we call it district hospital, and 25 clinics send patients to Mutambara Mission Hospital. I and my 2 colleagues need to see these patients. We need to do cesarean sections, we need to do surgeries, we need to do cataract surgeries. I need to do all of them. So this video is when I was doing one of the cesarean sections following obstructed labor. The other picture there is myself and Florence. She does a lot of jobs. She also comes to help me in cataract surgery. So we are preparing for a cataract surgery in that picture. And the next picture there is one of the cataract surgery patients. There, this patient is a young guy. He's about 20 years old with bilateral cataracts. So we had, when he came, it's a long story, but I need to cut it short. He came the second time. First time I sent him to go have free surgery somewhere in the province, but he couldn't go because of poverty. So he came back 6 months later, and we had to do it free of charge for him. And we did both eyes at the same time so that he would be able to see. So this is him after we had finished and cleaned his eyes, and so he was able to see. We tested him, he was walking and able to see. This picture is a child with a ring on his hand. This ring has been on that finger for up to 4 days or 5. The hands were swollen. It came as an emergency. Thank God they came during the day. And the only way I had to remove this was to get our mechanic workshop to use a drill, electric iron cutter, to cut that ring in 2 places to be able to remove it. Of course, you don't talk of money; it has to be free. This picture also is in the operating room. That girl is an epileptic. She fell into fire, got her legs burnt up, and so they referred to our hospital. And I had to, I took 2 months to clean her up, and then did skin graft. That picture there on the right, on the left is the skin graft in the operating room. And the other picture on the left is after she has gotten better. She was ready for home. The skin graft took, and she was discharged. Of course, she couldn't pay. She was poor. And so it's just to let you know that most of the work we do is more of free because the people are poor, and some who want to pay will do trade by barter. I hope we all know what is trade by barter. You bring the chicken and goat, we evaluate it, and we take the goat, and then we calculate the money into what they are supposed to pay. So this is the UMC, or rather, this is a help from the UMC Mill Bank. It's our chapel when it's being renovated. Our chapel is the place where we pray every morning, 7 o'clock before we start work. And after we pray, then the pregnant women also come and have their prayers with the chaplain. So this is under renovation with the help from the Mill Bank in South Dakota. So this was after it has been renovated and everything is painted and looking good, but we fall short of pews. So we got these pews from Grand Valley United Methodist Church in Colorado. So all the churches are really helping, in our work. This is also the hospital, the road. You can see that how bad the road is on the left picture. We had to use manual labor to repair the roads, put retaining walls, to make the road better. That building on the red roof is the first pregnant women's shelter, where I told you was congested. And then there was also the roof. This roof is, we noticed that when I'm moving our patients, they are exposed to rain and sunshine when we wheel them on wheelchairs and on table and on stretcher on wheels. So we had to put a roof over there to protect the patients. So I told you that we moved from Mutambara to Old Mutare. This was when we were moving to Old Mutare. The picture on the right there is, putting up our water tank because water is erratic. If electricity fails, there is no water anymore. So we need a backup, for a backup when there is electricity to pump up water into the tanks. That little house there at the background is our house in Old Mutare. That's the New Waiting Mothers, as I told you, New Waiting Mothers shelter. It was built by the General Board of Global Ministries. But as at the time we came last year, there were no beds, no mattresses, no mosquito nets. And we have to, ask for funds, write to NGOs and churches. We got some money. And the picture here on the right was what the rooms looked like. That you see that lady there on the left, her items on the floor. That bed is not the best. It was a condemned bed, from the wards. So, but the video is showing after we have gotten funds from the NGOs, and then from the churches, and so you can see the new beds there, mattress, mosquito nets, and the bedside lockers to make the life of the women more comfortable there in Old Mutare. We used one of the rooms to improve, as a living room for them so that they have a place to relax when they come back. So the picture on the left there, on the right there, was one of the rooms. We bought chairs and television for them. Getting that television was another story, but we don't have time for that now. And the picture here is where the women were now relaxing. You can see the video. They were relaxing, watching television after they had come from the antenatal. So that's the television there. They watch movies and all that to keep them busy. But then there was also need to teach them skills just as that of Mutambara. That's another thing Florence would want to do. But for now, all they do is games. They do handball and basketball or so. We'll see the video there later. But this picture was also about the pregnant women. The picture on the left is when they had to go to look for firewood from the bush. I think here you call it woods. So they go there to pick up wood, to come back and cook for themselves. It was not the best. It exposes them to danger, snakes and all that. So we also plan to start feeding them. And thank God again, Norwegian UMC, they came to our rescue. They gave us money to feed these women for 1 year, and it will expire in March next year, I think. So that video there is showing that the women are being fed. We cook for them, and they eat. Now, this video here is the game, the handball. Florence would take them out every day in the afternoon for them to do some exercise. This session, they were just doing handball there. So that's what they're doing. But they still need to teach them skills. Now, another story I have here is about the patients. This picture is showing that, the need for, sidewalk, walkway in between the hospitals. I couldn't stand that few days after we came, there was an accident in the hospital. We treated the patients, and we needed to have x-rays. We needed to admit them, but the outpatient is different. You can see where it says OPD. The ward is in that place said a WD. If you look far behind is the OR, and the x-ray is even further away. So it was not comfortable for the patients. I really felt for them. And so my priority as at that time was besides the issue of the pregnant women, was to pave that part. So the picture there on the right was when the GBGM, after I had written a lot and asked for money, and so the GBGM came and paved that part with interlock bricks. And so I had to complete it with cement and concrete. So that's the picture on the right there, showing the cement and concrete. The lower part was the one done by the GBGM. Now, the good thing is that we can wheel the patients, to the ward safely, easily, but we need to protect them from rain and sunshine. So what is left is to put a shade. Just like you have them here, the shade in Mutambara, and we need this type of shade in Old Mutari. Here is our truck, the truck we use. It's a Toyota Land Cruiser. When we came to Old Mutari, it started developing trouble, and it was found out that the head of the engine got cracked. And so for the past 1 year, we've not used it. We can't go to the town to get our groceries or to do other work because of the vehicle. And they said we need $2,000 to get it fixed, get a new head on it. So we also are appealing. The church doesn't have money. The church there in Zimbabwe doesn't have money. The hospital doesn't have money. So we also put it in what we need to do to be able to continue our work. And so here, Dr. Mefor is going to retire in December 2024. And this is a pre-retirement itineration for me. And I'm here to say thank you so much, the First United Methodist Church in Princeton. You've been so supportive to us in the past 23 years of our mission work. So I say thank you so much. May God replenish your resources. But Florence will continue. She'll be there for another 1 or 2 years. And so we still have to continue to support her. And as I said, you have supported us all the way. Don't drop back because I am retiring. We continue to help her so that she will continue her work and also support other missionaries all over the world. For me, I'll do volunteer work in Zimbabwe while she completes her own period of work and before retirement. So I say, may God replenish your resources. Thank you so much. And if I have a need, I'll still knock on your doors. So I'm not gone yet. Thank you so much. I know I've taken how many? Oh, wow. Can you just say thank you to them and what you want to do?
Thank you so much, my brothers and sisters. Thank you. Please, as Emmanuel said, please be behind me. I can't do anything without you. I rely on you. United Methodist Women, ladies, you did it before and you are going to do it again. The pregnant young ladies are dying of hunger. Hunger, they don't have anything at all. In short, what we saw at Mutambara is what is repeating it again at Mutare, the new place we are working now. Somebody that is coming to hospital to have a baby, no diaper, no baby's dresses, nothing, and they don't have any skills at all. I want to start, I do what I did at Mutambara, at Mutare, before I retire myself. Thank you so much. I know that you are going to do it. We are all working together in the vineyard of the Lord. Thank you so much.
Thank you.